Hello, good evening, and welcome back. Police and security services can have tougher powers to keep the country safer now Brexit has happened, says Priti Patel. And rest assured that what they're focusing on here is not saying that we don't have to abide by the European Court of Human Rights or anything like that that is domestic, but instead it is to do with foreign threats coming into the country, as we'll go on in more detail. That isn't to say that they could do a similar thing in terms of hate speech, of course, but that's another issue and not the focus of this one at least. So let's take the white pills when we can get them. So Priti Patel has vowed to toughen up power for security now Brexit is complete. Home Secretary said tools in place for keeping country safe thanks for EU deal, and stricter entry rules at borders and crack down on smuggling among new plans. So police and security services will get tougher powers to keep the country safe now Brexit has happened, Priti Patel said today. It is essentially down to who we let in, not just from the European Union, but also from further afield. Because it isn't just the free travel that's finished, but also having the European Union quotas for refugees and migrants coming in that, of course, we do not have to abide by anymore. The UN have their own suggestions and requests, if you will, but that's similar to foreign aid that we've already decreased. So they are easier to deal with than European Union laws, both for people from the EU and further afield, as I say. So she signalled the government will now go further by banning foreign criminals from entering, which beggars believe that wasn't done before, rejecting unreliable national identity cards, and cracking down on smuggling from Europe, and also from East Asia would also be worthwhile. But again, I suppose they come through Europe, don't they? Even if they have Irish drivers. So the EU and UK have implemented limited information sharing and other measures to maintain security functions under the new trade deal. EU is trying to say, well, yeah, but you're not going to have as much access, saying they made it clear under the agreement the UK does not enjoy the same level of facilities on policing and security issues as before. An EU briefing note said the UK would no longer have direct real-time access to sensitive databases covering freedom, security and justice. However, the deal allows for effective cooperation between the UK and the Europol and Eurojust policing and criminal justice agencies in line with the rules for third countries under EU law. So if somebody is an international threat or a global threat, then they're still going to be notified, or at least the UK will be notified of that, which is the more important bit, I suppose. Plus, if we have our own concerns about who is coming in, then of course we can simply deny them entry. And as we see on the sidebar here with Patel pushing for more Jamaica deportations as well, even though sometimes you get the shit weasels on the planes who just decide to stand up so that the plane can't take off because they hear somebody is being deported, not knowing at all what their crime was, because it's not like a Con Air kind of situation that they have moving around prisoners in the States. It's just in the back of a plane, as in a civilian plane. So, writing in the Telegraph, Ms Patel said the agreement gives our police and security services the tools and partnerships to help keep the public safe, and having left the EU means we can give these agencies stronger powers to keep this country safe. That includes banning foreign criminals who have served more than a year in jail from entering the UK. We will refuse to accept insecure national identity cards, and we will be able to crack down on illegal imports of goods through the introduction of pre-arrival data on goods being imported from the EU. Yes, so that extra paperwork and freight documents which need to be changed in line with the new rules. Sure, it's a hassle and it's annoying for the 70% of small businesses that have never done this before, no doubt. However, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but the increased level of bureaucracy, in a way, does at least allow us to decide what we want to accept, instead of somebody else saying that, oh yeah, it's definitely okay. It's like, no, we would like to be able to do our own checks instead. She says, we will also crack down on illegal immigration and reform the broken asylum system. Well, the illegal immigration part, she could have done more beforehand. So, no, that's just all talk and no walk, as far as I'm concerned. But, broken asylum system, well, yes, because of, as I say, what the European Union want their member states to do insofar as taking in asylum seekers. That is something that could be done about. Similar to the point that I mentioned in a video a little while back about the requirements for people even from the European Union to migrate to the UK, that it will stop people travelling through the European Union in order to get to the United Kingdom, who have been given passports by Germany in particular. So that's a similar positive there. So she said, forging a new relationship with the European Union also means taking back control of our borders, allowing Britain to finally control who comes into this country. Free movement has ended, and people who want to live in the UK will now have to meet the requirements for our new points-based system, which, as far as I'm concerned, could be a lot stricter than it is at the moment. As I say, 24,000 isn't really enough of an earning. You're not really bringing in specialists then. Sure, it's not unskilled workers, sure. However, to be a net contributor, it's still about £32,000. It depends on the individual, of course, but surely you want to bring in people who are net contributors instead of net takers, the makers versus the takers, if you insist on bringing in people instead of ideally just training up your own people. Isn't that a thought? Yes, maybe you wouldn't have to worry about immigration so much if the education system wasn't so bad. Maybe you wouldn't have to worry about minimum wage laws if the education system wasn't so bad. However, with the rampant inflation that realistically has gone at about 50% this year, based on the amount of sterling that has been created out of thin air, then yes, inflation is about 50% this year, seeing as a third of all sterling has been created in the last year. If you do not change the minimum wage laws, then they have just dropped dramatically in real terms. So at least there's that positive. And perhaps also, in terms of universities, that more people are getting the memo that they're not worth going to, and therefore people do not have to start off life being saddled with overwhelming amounts of debt, and instead find something that is useful to do, for example, at a trade school, things like that, or just a job that doesn't require qualifications and work their way up in their specific field, which would mean a load of the university courses fall out of favour, and then the prices can lower down again for the ones that are worth taking, simply because they don't need so many staff there who aren't being used at all. So, to wrap up, Attorney General Suella Braverman, also writing in the newspaper, said a seismic shift had now taken place. She said the jurisprudence of the Court of Justice of the European Union will no longer take precedence in the UK's higher courts. Good luck, Count Dankula. This reflects a seismic shift which will become apparent over time in our lawmaking. The thousands of judgments handed down by the Luxembourg Court every year interpreting EU laws, determining questions on regulations in areas as varied as competition, health and safety, manufacturing and the environment will no longer bind our judges at home. So as long as we don't get a load of woke judges, of course, trying to interpret UK law and make the decisions based on race or ethnicity or any other stupid qualifications instead of the Enlightenment values of meritocracy based on Judeo-Christian values that Britain has been able to spread successfully throughout the world, and the world is a better off place for it, then we'll all be fine. But I suppose that's quite a big if. But that's it for me. So as always, let me know what you guys think down below. Always intrigued to hear what you guys have to say. And as always, until next time, have a good one.